Welcome back to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. This segment is sponsored by Claire. Unhappy with government's management of the country, Barbados opposition is preparing the people for a vote of no confidence, though it holds a slim minority of seats in parliament. That presents an opposite scenario to Guyana's parliamentary politics, where the combined opposition holds a slender majority of one seat, and despite its stated dissatisfaction with government's administration, has not spoken about a possibility of a no-confidence vote. Since 2011, Guyana's opposition of the APNU and the AFC has commanded 33 of the 65 seats in parliament. The Barbados Labour Party lost the election on a second term in February and became an opposition holding 14 to the government's 16 seats. Now, despite the relatively short time and fewer seats, the BLP has spoken of a possible vote of no confidence and wants people to be prepared for it. That was the message BLP Member of Parliament representing the district of Christchurch West, Dr. Maria Agard, passed on to her constituents at the district's annual general meeting. She spoke of the island's prolonged challenges and worsening economic problems over the past 5 months. She said that the government was not heeding the opposition's advice. Financial woes of the Barbados government appear to be taking the economy to a breaking point when last month Prime Minister Freundel Stewart announced a need to cut at least $400 million from the budgeted spending within 8 months. This was compounded with a downgrade in its international credit rating last week. For these reasons, Agard said she was relaying the call from opposition leader Mia Mottley to be on alert and be ready, because we do not know the date or the hour when this country will need to move a motion of no confidence against the Democratic Labour Party for all the lies and deception that led to their re-election to a government that they now cannot service. She says all Barbadians need to be on the alert, should be aware of what is happening in their country. She says, I am simply positioning them to be conscious citizens of Barbados. We need to be informed citizens. It places you in an ideal position to make the necessary decisions when opportunity arises. End of quote. Caribbean Community Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque is at the United Nations headquarters in New York, articulating the community's position on a slate of developmental issues. The discussions are being conducted within the framework of the 2-day 7th General Meeting of the Caribbean Community, its associated institutions, and the United Nations systems, which began on Monday, 22nd of July. Speaking at the opening ceremony to an audience that included His Excellency Ban Ki-moon, UN Secretary General, the CARICOM Secretary General said that CARICOM UN interactions were not ritualistic, but involved vital working sessions that were strategic, pragmatic, forward-looking, and results-oriented. He said that the two organizations were meeting at a time when the world was contemplating the future beyond the Global Developmental Compact represented by the Millennium Development Goals, and fittingly when a Caribbean National Ambassador, John Ash of Antigua and Barbuda, was preparing to assume the presidency of the 68th session of the UN General Assembly. That session will consider the post of 2015 development agenda. Secretary General LaRocque said the community had great interest in developments in relation to the elaboration of the development agenda and will take an active role in ensuring that the region's interests were adequately and effectively addressed. LaRocque stated, Secretary General, that the CARICOM and the UN had been forging and enduring an important partnership on a number of critical issues, including security. He said that CARICOM showed solidarity with the global community in adopting the landmark Arms Trade Treaty, a crucial intervention to stem the illegal trade in small arms and light weapons. However, he noted that CARICOM was fully seized that crime in the Caribbean could not be solved only by those interventions, and had therefore acknowledged the necessity of doing its part in addressing the impact of crime on the region. He advised that the region had developed a targeted approach within the framework of the 2013 CARICOM Crime and Security Strategy, which he described as an important weapon in the Caribbean's arsenal to fight the war against crime. Even as CARICOM grappled with the threats posed by crime, the Secretariat General said it was also dealing with the effects of a protracted global financial and economic crisis that had held many of its small developing economies in a near stranglehold. He told his audience that economies like those of CARICOM had structural and institutional characteristics which increased their vulnerability to external events and limited their capacity for adjustment. This vulnerability was exacerbated by onerous debt, unwarranted restrictions on new growth sectors, and graduations from access to concessionary development funding on criteria such as GDP per capita, which did not take account of vulnerability, the Secretary General explained. Secretary General LaRocque pointed out that CARICOM was anticipating engaging with the UN under new coordination mechanism for the UN's assistance to the region and a more effective CARICOM-UN partnership. He said that the community was deeply appreciative of steps taken to ensure that the UN system gave priority to supporting the implementation of the political declaration on the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases, which was adopted in 2011. In Antigua, Chief Executive Officer of LIAT, Mr. Ian Brunton, says the company is taking urgent and decisive steps to address a series of challenges which have resulted in numerous flight delays and cancellations over the past few weeks. In a statement on Wednesday, Mr. Brunton apologized for the inconvenience caused to the airline's customers and assured those currently being affected that every effort is being made to get them to their various destinations safely and as quickly as possible. He said LIAT is implementing both short and long-term fixes to alleviate the problems which have resulted in a severe strain on the airline's operations. As a result of Tropical Storm Chantal, we were forced to cancel 30 flights on July 9th, he said. Additionally, strong surface winds have been affecting our flights into and out of St. Vincent, while unfavorable weather conditions have affected flights to and from Dominica. The months of July and August are usually two of the busiest for LIAT, with high volumes of vacationers and other people making trips during the summer. But Mr. Brunton said due to the current challenges, the airline has been unable to transport several customers to their various destinations in a timely manner. Mr. Brunton also expressed heartfelt thanks to staff throughout the LIAT network who have come under tremendous pressure in recent times, especially those employees on the front line who have been faced with the challenges of handling the disruptions. In St. Lucia, the government of St. Lucia will soon enact anti-gang legislation in Parliament as part of its strategic no-nonsense approach to dismantling criminal gangs around the island. Many families continue to be plunged in mourning as a result of gang warfare, which has also eroded the social fabric of the state. Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony said St. Lucia can no longer ignore the rise in criminal gangs and the attendant gun-related violence and homicides. And I quote, "In the past, we silently ignored the mushrooming of gangs in our midst, sometimes under the misguided notion of freedom of association. But since when an association established for criminal enterprise to steal, murder, and plunder at will is protected by a constitution. Today, the police are working to deal with gangs and the negative gang culture that spawns antisocial behavior and organized crime." He says we will support their efforts by enacting anti-gang legislation, as has been done in Trinidad and Tobago and about to be done in Jamaica, Anthony said. The Prime Minister also emphasized that communities have a key role in addressing the problems associated with gangs. He said the police and citizens must work in tandem in order to effectively dismantle criminal gangs and their associates. The St. Lucian leader also reaffirmed government's full support for the police to deal with gangs on the island. He says the safety and security of citizens and visitors alike remains paramount. You are watching Caribbean Affiliate News. Stay tuned.
Mom, let you take your car out.
This is awesome.
It's time to grow.
You're crazy.
Little while
Go faster. Stop.
It'll all be alright.
I raised my son to be careful,
Hey, sweetie.
Hey, Mom.
but just to be safe,
So don't you worry.
I got a Subaru.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Coleman Subaru, 1710 North Alden Avenue, Ewing, New Jersey, or colemansubaru.com.
Hey, excuse me, if you see me smiling, that's 'cause I'm chilling on Total Caribbean Network. It's your boy Wyclef Jean, man, and I'm chillin', man. Total Caribbean Network. Man, I love their style. Whoa, 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 whoa.